Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Kimberly Cloud Show. I am your host, Kimberly Cloud. So today we are going to dig right into mental health. I just wanted to discuss mental health in a different standpoint, from the Hollywood stigma to race to community. I wanted to dive into the Hollywood stigma of mental health. I remember, to dive right in, before we get started, um, can you go ahead and announce to the world who you are and what you do? Go ahead and promote yourself right now while I write this down.
Hi, everyone. My name is Damaris Chanza, and I'm a writer. I'm an author of a poetry collection named Breath of a Fallen Angel that covers mental health and domestic violence in relationships. I'm also an entertainment journalist and a blogger.
Okay, and I don't know if you know who Fantasia is, but Fantasia is an African American woman who she is a superstar that took some aspirin. She overdosed on some aspirin. And I said to myself, I was like, I remember when I saw it, I was like, wow, what is going on in her life where she is overdosing off of Tylenol or aspirin? So I asked you, have you ever been in a situation or heard about a situation through a friend or family member where they possibly wanted to take their life, and what did they get? How did they get out of the trap of thinking, of negative thinking with mental health?
Um, I mean, I have heard people mention things like that, but I don't know that it's something that how do I answer this? So basically, I think it's a matter of reframing your thinking, and it's hard for me as someone who has not had those type of negative thoughts to know what's going on in somebody else's head. So I think it's just a journey for them to like kind of take it day by day thing. And sometimes, you have to seek professional help to do that. But
Well
I
said.
don't, sure.
Um, how do you personally, Ms. Chanza, get out of negative thoughts? Because we have 6,000 or 20,000 thoughts that we don't even know that we have in our brain at
Yeah.
times. So what
So
do you do to get out of negative thinking?
I usually like to go do something creative.
Cool, like
When,
art.
yeah, so for me personally, working on something creative, whether that be a painting or an article, or, sometimes I knit or do little crafts, um, that really helps me kind of focus on my joy in that moment of doing that little craft or whatever that creative task may be. And that's what helps me find joy in those negative thoughts. And if not, sometimes it's just a matter of changing my environment. So like sometimes you're just cooped up in the house all day and you're like, you know
So
what, I need to
basically,
go and touch
temporary.
grass.
So basically temporarily changing your environment. Do you feel like music is another therapeutic thing?
It can be, definitely. There's I remember in high school I took a music therapy course, and I don't remember too much about it, but there are definitely, music therapy is something that people can seek, and it is not any sort of surprise that music can help people articulate the feelings that they maybe can't put into words themselves.
Okay. And being someone who is a consumer, a buyer of celebrity things, if you had to say one pro or one con about something you seen a celebrity do or wanted to suggest something or like even give a compliment about something having to do with mental health, what would it be?
Oh, that's an interesting question. In regards to mental health, I I think it's interesting when people go, or celebrities, I guess, if that's the specific topic, when celebrities find a way to go through whatever it is that they're going through, but also and do that in private, in the comfort of their home, because they're still human, they're still people, but
Mhm.
they do have this brand or celebrity persona, and I do think it's good when they find the balance of kind of letting the audience in and giving us the information that we feel that we're privy to because of social media and everything, and also kind of keeping their own emotions as private as they can. So I think it is a balance of finding how do keep your private life private, but also know that your fans are expecting information from you.
Well
So I
said.
will compliment, there are some celebrities that I can't say for certain, obviously I don't know these people, but it does seem like they have accomplished that to the best of their ability.
What's one star you, if you had to talk to, that suffers from mental health, whether in whatever genre, that you want to bring up that you feel like maybe they need someone to, reach out and give them a suggestion about mental health? Maybe you can talk about, hey, look, like for instance, going back to Fantasia, like I feel like, next time she should have a more better support system and write down pros and cons or negative and positive things that can happen. How do you feel about that statement?
I think it's hard for someone who doesn't live the lifestyle of a celebrity to judge their lifestyle. Solely because like you've seen it on social media, and especially with a lot of like child stars that are now adults,
Mhm.
saying like, there were all these people around me that I thought were my support system or were, my friends, and they kind of weren't. And it was because they were in this position of kind of stardom. And that's not even including the 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 like paparazzi, going the schedule of being a star. A lot of us, we can go to work and come home and we're done. But, Beyonce can't turn off that she's Beyonce. If she, a lot of these celebrities, they say, well, I can't go grocery shopping anymore. I can't just, go shop at a store because it's physically impossible for me to do without being overrun by fans. And it's not like they're unappreciative of that, because they understand that the fans are what got them the life that they wanted financially or creatively. But there are cons that come with, stardom and celebrity. And I think, I'm not someone who's ever experienced that. And I guess a lot of people haven't really experienced what it means to be even a local celebrity, let alone a worldwide celebrity. So it's hard to say this is what you should have done and this is how you should have done it, or whatever it may be, without even knowing what they're really going through. Because I think there's a certain level of something that we just don't understand.
Well said. Do you feel like we need to replenish or refresh our friend list, like every 3 to 6 months, evaluate our friends and see what is going on? Do you think that this is a suggestion or some sort of advice or encouragement advice to a celebrity to probably refresh and replenish friends based on what needs and things they're giving you, because it should be a 50-50 relationship? Because I see a lot of stars, that, like you said, have a problem with keeping friends, or their friends use them or abuse them. What are your thoughts?
I think that can happen
Yeah.
to anybody, regardless of celebrity. I think it's just, we all seek friendship and community, and it's something that we all kind of thrive for. It's a human thing to want connection, whether it be familial or romantic or through friendship. So yeah, definitely you should evaluate friendships. I don't know how often or how regularly, but you should evaluate your circle and say, well, maybe these people are not maybe treating me the way I want to be treated, or maybe they are, or maybe I'm the one who needs to put more effort into the friendship. Maybe you're the one who needs to realize, like, this person is actually a really good friend to me and I don't treat them well.
What interests you about the positive mental health symptoms of celebrities? What do you see celebrities doing in a positive light that you are interested and you enjoy watching them do, that encourages you?
I think because of their platform, they are the ones who, if they speak about any sort of condition or any sort of, mental health issue, or become an advocate for it, they are then introducing these topics to a larger audience who can, learn about it or seek help if they need it, or maybe they see those things in themselves. So I do think that any celebrity who stands up and maybe talks about their own private mental health issues or, mental health journey, I think that's very brave of them to do because of the worldwide audience that there is.
If you had to speak to one celebrity right now, an individual, whoever you listen to or watch on a regular, who would it be, and what would you tell them that you learned from them, and looking at them and how they carried themselves in a positive, respectful, talented, integrity manner?
My favorite musician is Ed Sheeran. Um, and what I love about him, not just in his music, but is that you don't know that much about him, only what he's willing to show. What he does show is that he has this kind of love for life and all the little things that come with it. And he doesn't pretend to be kind of someone that he's not. He famously realized that he was spending so much time on his phone and not cultivating the relationships around him because he was on his phone so often. He got rid of it. And I think that's something that, like, I can't imagine getting rid of my phone. And there have to be tons of people who are trying to contact Ed Sheeran, and obviously he has the resources to do that with managers and whatever that structure may be, to have other people contact him through kind of a middle person. But I think that's really interesting in knowing that like he identified an issue and then solved it in a way that felt right for him. Same thing with Tom Holland, who
Who is Tom Hollins and who is Ed Sheeran? I know who Ed Sheeran is, but just explain to the rest.
so Ed Sheeran is a Grammy winning musician, probably best known for honestly a bunch of songs that like for some reason aren't coming to my head right now. But and then Tom Holland plays Spider-Man in the Marvel movies. He on a dare or just like a random choice decided to do dry January, where you don't drink alcohol for the entire month of January. And he realized that for the entire month of January he was like craving it and
Can I ask you a
wanted.
question? Where did
Sure,
you
sure, sure.
find where did you find this out from? Did you read it or did you see it?
This is information that they put on their social media.
Okay.
And there's articles about it and stuff, so it is out there. And they've done interviews on podcasts. Yeah. So Tom Holland, once he realized that he was having a hard time not drinking, he kind of extended this whole dry January thing, and then realized like maybe I have an issue with alcohol that I didn't think about prior. And before it became a bigger issue, he identified it, said, okay, then if I don't like how I'm reacting around alcohol and how much it's affecting me, then he went and addressed it and said, okay, well, then I'm just going to be sober. And that's not to say that he believed he was an alcoholic. He's, as far as I know, has never used that word to describe himself. But, he identified that there was something that he didn't like or something that he didn't want to affect him in the way that it was, and he addressed it.
How has alcohol played a role in your community, not your culture, but your community? And what do y'all go, not y'all as in you being an alcoholic, but do you know people that go to alcohol AA or NA classes in your community? And how has that helped them if they do go?
I wouldn't know if
Okay.
anyone's ever been to AA or NA or anything like that. I would have
What
no
do
idea.
That's okay. What do
Yeah,
you
well, I
do
mean,
in
it's meant
your
to be anonymous.
That's fine. What do you do in your community that can help give a revolution to the mental health challenges in our lives or your community?
That's a really pointed question because I actually grew up with a family who, there was a lot of alcoholism in my family. And
Thank you for taking the first step of being honest.
yeah,
Thank you. I understand, people don't like talking about it, their situations.
yeah, I think in general, like, there's alcohol makes people brave,
Yes.
and brave in a way that doesn't necessarily, that's not okay that way. So, and I think alcohol is one of those things that we just kind of brush it under the rug, that we just say, well, just take a drink, just take a shot, let's just go out to the bar or whatever. People don't realize that there could be an issue or don't identify it as maybe quickly or regularly as maybe some other conditions. So I don't know. I think it's a matter of being mindful. Because I saw how alcoholism affected my family, I will not say that I'm sober, but I barely ever drink alcohol, just because I I don't like what it does to other people, and I don't want to see that reflected in myself.
You know, if you're out there, you guys, there are well said, by the way, Ms. Chanza, but if you're out there, there are worldwide NA and AA classes that you can go to, worldwide, to talk to people about alcoholism and Narcotics Anonymous. How do you feel that your community will possibly, what have you done in your community so far, whether it be a job or um, family, friends, that you have helped someone um, by giving them advice to some type of mental challenge they were having?
I think the best way that I helped is by listening. I think a lot of times people are so quick to say, well, if you have a problem, this is how you solve it, and this is how you fix it. And I think, that's not always the solution. I think a lot of times people just want to be heard, and in in being heard, that is support to just listen to someone. And then if they have specific questions or ask you for any type of further support, then you can be there and be that support system for them, because you know that you're there to listen and not judge.
Also, to piggyback off you, to write a plan, that is most important, to sit up there and write a plan. If you are going through something, let's say, you are depressed because you haven't built a relationship with your family member, write down a plan. If it's in the cards to be around your family, you'll be around your family. If it's not, it's not. But write down the pros and cons of being around your family and friends. you know um Sometimes we are too dependent on our family and friends. I feel like mental health is something that is a challenge that could be overcome by taking on the challenge and not running from it. um how do you feel about mental health? Well, when did you learn about mental health with a celebrity? And I'm going back to the celebrity, to community, but I'm going back to the celebrity because I want to know, in your world, when did you first, as a child, as a teenager, as an adult, started comparing mental health problems that exist within your realm to the mental health problems, and started correlating it to say, well, these mental health problems are kind of similar to what I'm going through. Like, for instance, like you said, Ed Sheeran, he was drinking, and you said you drink, but you don't overdo it. How do you solve those problems?
Well, okay. It was Tom Holland who
Oh,
noticed this,
sorry.
yeah.
Sorry,
And
Ed Sheeran.
um yeah, I mean, I think it's easy to relate to media. I can't think of a specific person or time or anything that made me kind of realize, like, oh, this is in relation to me, or this is something that's I'm going through. I can't think of a specific moment that maybe started that, but I think it doesn't always have to be tied to a celebrity. I think that's kind of the one of the purposes of media in movies, TV shows, music, books, um, to kind of start those conversations of, you know, mental health, and in learning about these different, characters or what other people are going through, then you can kind of say, like, well, this relates to me, and this is maybe, maybe I didn't have the words to describe this, but now I do, because I learned them from media. That was kind of the hope that I was going for when I wrote my book, in relation to domestic violence and the mental health issues that may come with that. Um, because I feel like that's a topic that's just not talked about enough. So in kind of writing the book, it's not a step-by-step guide for people to say, this is exactly what I'm going to do, and this is exactly, this book told me what to do. That's definitely not what it is, but it is something that I hope starts the conversation, whether it be someone who is going through what the woman in the book is going through. Maybe they can kind of reflect it onto themselves and say, oh wow, like I didn't realize that what was going on was as bad as it was. Or maybe it's for someone who maybe doesn't understand domestic violence and how that can alter your mentality in relationships or love. And so it can help build empathy for others who may be going through things that you've never been through or you never totally understood.
And write down your negative thoughts. If you are in a domestic violence situation, write down your negative thoughts, because obviously that person is dependent on you in a negative way. There's one way to be dependent on somebody in a positive way. Everything has a negative to it. So write down your negative thoughts and ask yourself why you have those negative thoughts. Everybody has them, but some people ignore them greater than others. So I hope that if you're out there and you have domestic violence going on, like she said, seek help, go to a domestic violence shelter, do things with friends, replenish your friends, or, find some type of support at a church, something that will get you within the community and doing the right things. If you are on alcohol, if you are on alcohol and you feel like alcohol is stable, or then fine, be stable. That's cool. If you feel like alcohol is kind of questionably stable, then sit up there and evaluate yourself. It takes nothing but a pen and a piece of paper to evaluate yourself. Some people don't even know who they are inside. So I just wanted to tell you guys, seek help. Don't be afraid to be dependent for a while. Don't be afraid to hear a no for a while. So where do you think you're going, Ms. Chanza, with mental health in the future? How are you going to continue to inspire yourself to continue to remain positive in your mental health journey?
Like I said, when it comes to my personal mental health, I manage it with, spending time with the people that I know care about me, or sometimes it means just kind of loosening my schedule and giving myself time off, or, finding crafts and creative things for myself to do. That's how I manage it for myself. I also want to remain an advocate for mental health and keep the discussion going to ensure so that people know that there are others out there who, are hoping for their, that was badly phrased, who are there to find resources, because there are resources out there. And, it's just a matter of kind of identifying it and seeing what works for you.
Ms. Damaris, before we end, I hope I said your name right. How can the people reach you?
So you can visit my website. It's damarischanza.com. That's where you'll find more information about my new poetry collection, Breath of a Fallen Angel. You'll also find my blog, Discussions with Damaris, there. It focuses on diversity and representation in media. And you can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. It's all under the same handle. It's at Damaris Chanza.
Thank you. Stay on the line for just a couple more minutes. Thank you guys for joining my show today. I appreciate you guys. Take care, be safe, and I'll see you guys another time. Bye.
Never waste my time, you all I want.